Hey, Karthik here with Dabble Lab, and in this week we are going to take a quick look at Alexa's proactive events API, using which you can send notifications to your skilled users. Now, this API was released only last week to everyone, so keep in mind that some part of this API might not be stable. But in this video, we are going to go through the general idea of how to invoke the proactive events API. Notifications in Alexa work like this. Every time there's a notifications, your Alexa devices will light up with a yellow ring. And if it's a video device, like the show or the spot, it will show up with a card on the screen. Now, once you get the notifications, you can say, Alexa, what are my notifications?
One new notification from Proactive Event API Starter. Tuesday is compostable, recyclable plastics garbage collection day.
So you can see it has notifications from the app that we are going to demo today. And the yellow light or the cards do not get cleared until and unless the user has listened to the notifications or cleared it. So let's get started. So we are going to use a template from skilltemplates.com, and the way to do that would be to go inside the terminal and type in ask new template followed by URL and the skill template URL. So that would be skilltemplates.com/templates.json. Now, once you do that, you will get a list of templates that you can choose, and we are going to choose the proactive event API starter, which is just going to initialize an Alexa skill project based on the template. Now, once that has been created, I'm just going to go inside this and then type in here and have the editor open up with the proactive event API starter. So now you can see that the code has been cloned onto my machine. So this is the skill manifest here. Now, if you have to send notifications to your users, it has to follow a certain set of schemas. Unlike mobile apps, you cannot just send any random text as notifications to your users. And right now, Amazon only supports 6 schemas. So let's just look at what are those schemas, and that is in a link here. So you can see one of the schema is amazon.weather_alert.activated. So that means if you are if you are building a skill which is for weather alert, this is the kind of schema that you would want to use. The other ones are sports event, basically for giving a sports update to your skilled users. Message alert, which would be for activating, informing users about if there has been any update to their messages, something like that. Order status for something like a retail kind of a scenario. If you have a skill which is involved in e-commerce, you may want to use this for giving an update on the user's order, like it has been received, it has been shipped, it has been delivered. For notifications like that, you would use order status. Then you have occasion. So for example, if you have an event coming up, this is the kind of the schema that you would use for updating occasions. And then you have amazon.trash collection alert. So now if you have an app for trash collection, this is what you would use. Apart from that, you also have media content available and the social game invite available. Now, once you have all of these schemas, all you need to do is you need to integrate some of them into your manifest. So let's choose the trash collection alert, and that is what we are going to integrate inside our manifest. So I'll just open up my skill.json here. Now, remember, before we start to integrate all of this, we are just going to cut off this entire part here and just go ahead and deploy this. And once we do that, let's just do an ask deploy. Now I'm just going to fast forward to the skill being deployed and then come back to this. Alright, so now that the skill has been deployed, let's go back to our skill.json here, and we are just going to get our code that we had just cut back some time back. And now you can see here this is basically the skill permissions that are needed for the notifications to work. So there we have the permissions and the name, which is basically alexa.devices and all notifications, right? And then you have events and publications. Now inside the publications, you would add the schema that you want to add. for your skill, we have order status, message alert, trash collection alert, and weather alert activated in this one. But for this purpose, we are just going to use the weather alert one. So let's just cut all of the other ones from here. And again, you can just use any of the schemas that I showed in the previous link. Now, once you are done with that, this endpoint here needs to be filled up with the ARN that we just got. So let's just copy this from here. Let's just go back and type in here this one, right? And now once we have done that, this is also the endpoint that we need to update. Now you would see here there is a subscription JSON which has an event name skill proactive subscription change. Now what this basically does is anytime a user enables or disables your skill or activates or deactivates notifications, this sends back information about the user to your skill. And then what you can do is take the information and then send specific notifications to them. So that is why we are using the subscriptions here. Now, once we have all this JSON here and we have filled up all the endpoints, let's just go back and let's just do an update. Now, I'm just going to do an ask deploy again and then fast forward to the skill being updated. So the skill has been updated and deployed. Now we have to go and enable this skill and the permissions associated with it. So the way to do that would be to go to the settings inside your Alexa app, and I can do that via the browser as well. You can go to alexa.amazon.com.in, and then out here you can just go to notifications, and you would see that the skills that right now have notifications ability is the proactive event API starter. Now all of this is because in our code we wrote Alexa devices all notifications, right? Now that code, that permissions, what responsible for getting our skill on this list. Now once we have done that, let's just go inside here, and here we are just going to allow the skill to send you notifications. So let's just click on here, and we have got permissions for this. Now your users would see this alert when they try to enable the skill. Alexa will ask, Amazon will ask them if they want to enable notifications for this skill. So this is not the workflow they would follow, but a different workflow. Now when we enable our permissions, remember we added the proactive event subscription here, which is basically this one, the skill proactive subscription changed, right? And what this basically does is it sends a event to our function which says that, hey, a user just enabled their notifications, right? And out here in our code inside index.js, we have a proactive event handler which handles this specific thing, which specific type of request, which is Alexa skill event.proactive subscription change. Now what we are doing here is we are logging the user who has changed the permissions, and we are using the API and we are logging the API endpoint as well, and the permissions that the user has given to the skill. Now this would be a good place for you to add the user to the database or send it to your server, but for this demo purposes we'll just keep it in our logs, and let's check how the logs have turned out now that we have enabled the permissions. So I'm just going to go back into my Lambda skills, and we are just going to go into the proactive event API starter default, and once we open here, let's go to monitoring, and out here we'll just click on view logs in CloudWatch. Now once the logs load up here, you would see here there is this log group, let's log stream. Let's just click on this, and you would see that just a few times back we just enabled the notification, and you would see that we've got the amazon.trashcollection.alert.activated notification, and for this specific user, which is this amazon1.ask account and this long string here. Now we also have an API endpoint which we will come back to later on in the video. So we now have a user who has subscribed to notifications. The next step is to call the proactive events API. For this, I would recommend you use an app like Postman, which calls APIs. But if you are familiar with curl or any other tool, you can use that as well. Now you can download Postman at getpostman.com, and I'll leave the links in the description as well. But this is how Postman is going to look like. And what we are going to do is, along with this template that we have sent you, we have a proactive events API .postman JSON file here. So what we are going to do here is, let's just import that directly, and the way to do that would be to click on the import button and then open up import file and choose the file here. So we are going to choose here the proactive events API Postman collection, and once we do that, it is just going to import the entire API that is required to make this notifications work. So let's open that up. Now there are two APIs here, API requests that you need to make, and both of them are post requests. The first one is to get the authorization token. Let's open it up and see what happens in here. Now out here, this is the URL that you have to hit, which is basically api.amazon.com/auth/o2/token. Now this is a post request, and it is application/xx. The content type is xx www form URL encoded, which means inside the body we are just sending these four fields. The first one is grant type, client ID, client secret, and scope. Now the grant type is client credentials. The client ID and client secret are something that you will get in your Amazon dashboard. So let's just see how we can get that. I'm just going to go back to the developer console here, go back to proactive event API starter, and once I go inside there, inside the build tab at the bottom, you would see the permissions option here. Let's just click on permissions here, and once we do that, let's just close this, and at the bottom you would see the client ID and the secret. So I'm just going to copy the client ID from here and then paste it here, and show the client secret, copy this as well, and then go here and type in here. Now the scope of this API request is Alexa : proactive events, but we have already filled that up for you in this JSON. Let's just go ahead and click on send here. Now once we do that, what's going to happen is we are requesting Amazon for an access token to send out notifications. So you can see that we've just received an access token from Amazon, and this is the access token that is used here. So let's just copy this access token here. Now this has a scope of Alexa proactive events, and the token type is bearer, and this expires in 3600 seconds. Now let's just open up Thrash collection here, and out here you would notice that there is a api.eu.amazonalexa.com/v1/proactive events/stages/development. Now what happens is, if you are referring to Amazon's technical content documentation, you would notice that they have asked you to use a URL which is something to the lines of api.amazonalexa.com. Now we were not able to make that work using that URL, and the way we figured out to make it work was, if you notice in our code, we had an API endpoint in the request, which is basically at handler input .request envelope .context.system.api endpoint. Now whatever is this API endpoint you have got in your logs, that is what you are going to use here. So out here in your logs, if you got api.eu.amazonalexa.com, maybe you should use that. But if you got api.amazonalexa.com, that is the one that you would want to use. And all of this is written in the technical documentation, and you would notice here that this is a document URL that they are asking you to hit, but depending on whatever you got in your log, you can add it. But just make sure whenever you are developing, you would have to add /stages/development for this to work. Okay, so let's get back to our notifications JSON, and out here we have proactive event /stages/development. Let's go back to the headers part here. Now here you have authorization key, and remember the token that we got from Amazon API is here, and it was a bearer type. So I'm just going to copy this from here, and what I'm going to do is go back to Thrash collection here and just delete this and update it. Now once I do that, what I'm going to do is go back to the body here, and this is the content type is application slash JSON. So that means I'll go back to the body, and out here you would see the JSON that needs to be sent here. Now this JSON is given to you at the proactive events API schema as well. So if you go back to trash collection alert, here you would see that this is the JSON that has been given to you. Right now, what additional information that we are sending is the timestamp. Now this is the timestamp of when the event occurred. So I'm just going to type in here latest time, which is 18th December today, and the time here. Now this should be in the UTC format, and this is a reference ID. So that means if we are using a reference ID, this should be unique, and this is what you would use if you wanted to update the notification as well. So this could be something on the client side, and you can handle whatever ID that you want to give to this reference ID. So I'm just going to give you Dabble Lab video, right? And expiry time. Now the expiry time can be from 5 minutes from the starting time to 24 hours. So what happens is if the user has not checked the notification within 5 minutes or within the expiry time, the notification will just remove itself from the device. Again, now once we are done with that, this is the event payload, that is what we are interested in, and this is a JSON that you would get from the Amazon documentation. So out here you can see the name is amazon.trashcollectionalert.activated, which means we are just sending a JSON request where event where the name is amazon.trashcollection. Now inside the payload, the information that we are sending is an alert, and the garbage types are compostable and recyclable plastics, and the collection day of week is Tuesday. Now this entire JSON is something that you can replicate with any other JSON that you have. For example, for an occasion, for an order status updated, for an order status delivered, all of this is available at technical documentation from Amazon. Now once we've come back, you have a relevant audience JSON here. Now the relevant audience JSON has two types. One is multicast and one is unicast. Multicast is when you want to send the send the event notification to all the users who have subscribed to your notifications. But unicast is when you would want to send it to a specific user. Now remember, when we enable the notifications, we got in our log user ID. That is what we are going to send here in this user. So I'm just going to go back to my logs here, and just let's take the user ID from here. And once I do that, let's just paste it in here. And once I've done that, I'm just going to go ahead and click on send. Now you would notice that once I clicked on send, my Alexa device just got a notification. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, Alexa, what are my notifications?
One new notification from Proactive Event API Starter. Tuesday is compostable, recyclable plastics garbage collection day.
Right, so let's just try that again. I'm just going to change this to Monday here, and let's see. Alexa, what are my notifications?
One new notification from Proactive Event API Starter. Monday is compostable, recyclable plastics garbage collection day.
So there we go. That's how you can make Alexa notifications work using the Proactive Events API. Now, since the API was launched just recently, there might be some difficulties in making it work. But I hope this video gave you a general idea of how to invoke the Proactive Events API. If you have any queries, leave a comment on this video and we'll help you figure it out. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to the YouTube Dabble Lab channel where we have 100+ videos on Alexa development. And do sign up at skilltemplates.com, which is where all the code for this video is available. Thank you.